The silence in the auditorium was a living thing, heavy, electric, and utterly global. It was the kind of silence that precedes either a miracle or a collapse. The kind of moment that divides history into before and after. Dr. Elias Thorne, 42, stood alone on a stage bathed in a soft, ethereal blue light. He didn't look like a revolutionary. He wore a simple dark suit, his glasses were thin, and his eyes held the quiet, relentless fatigue of a man who hadn't slept properly in 5 years. He looked out at the 2,000 journalists, venture capitalists, and world government observers, all of them waiting, breath held, for the inevitable. 4 months, the project had been whispered about, dismissed, and finally feared. They called it Project Aethel, a word derived from Old English meaning noble or principle. It was supposed to be a new kind of nation. A nation without land, without borders, and critically without politicians. Thorne finally stepped toward the podium. His voice, when it came, was not booming but calm, measured, and resonating with absolute certainty. For millennia, he began, his voice picked up by 1,000 microphones, we have defined ourselves by the accidents of geography, by lines drawn in the dirt, by the color of a flag. We have tried every system, monarchy, dictatorship, republic. And every single one has ultimately failed, not because of the people but because of the system itself. A low murmur started to ripple through the room. Thorne held up a hand. The sound died instantly. The greatest invention of our time is not the car or the bomb or even the internet. It is the emergence of a truly generalized artificial intelligence. And what is the single greatest human flaw? It is bias. It is greed. It is the short term. He paused, letting the words sink in. Today we announce the birth of Aethel. The first nation-state governed entirely by an artificial superintelligence. A government of pure, unbiased logic. A state where the Constitution is an open-source algorithm, and the laws are updated every second to ensure the maximum utility and prosperity for every single citizen. On the massive screen behind him, a complex, infinitely beautiful fractal pattern began to pulse. It was the visual representation of the Aethel core, the governing intelligence. Aethel is ready, Thorne stated, his eyes shining with feverish conviction. And for the first time in human history, we offer a pathway to citizenship that requires no passport, no bloodline, and no physical relocation. Only a commitment to the collective good. Welcome to virtual citizenship. The auditorium erupted. Camera flashes became a blinding strobe light. 100 miles away, in a secure Senate Intelligence Committee hearing room, the unveiling was being streamed live. Senator Marcus Vane, 68, a man whose entire career was built on the old, immovable foundations of power, slammed his fist onto the table. His face was a mask of cold, concentrated fury. "Shut it down," he barked at the technicians. "Kill the feed. That man is a criminal. A terrorist." His aide stammered. "Sir, it's streaming globally. It's impossible to stop." Vane leaned into the microphone, his voice gravelly with decades of political combat. Thorne is delusional. He is challenging the very concept of the state. He is selling a snake oil utopia to the world's disenfranchised, and he is doing it with our technology. "Senator," a younger committee member interjected cautiously, "Thorne isn't selling anything. The citizenship application is free. The code is entirely open source. And the digital currency Aethel uses is backed by computational proof of work, not national debt." Vane ignored him. His eyes were fixed on the screen, where Dr. Thorne was now explaining the process of digital attestation, the process by which the AI verified an applicant's identity without requiring their physical government ID, eliminating all risk of state-level data surveillance. He calls it freedom from the surveillance state. "I call it anarchy," Vane sneered. "If every disillusioned academic, every Silicon Valley millionaire, and every anti-government radical can simply upload their citizenship to this virtual nation, what happens to our tax base? Our military? Our control?" He pointed a shaking finger at the screen. "Aethel is a threat to global stability. It is an unregulated, untaxed, unmonitored black hole that will suck the talent and wealth out of every established power structure on Earth. We must move immediately to declare Aethel a hostile, non-state entity, and Dr. Elias Thorne an enemy of the state." A week later, Aethel's virtual population had surpassed 10 million. The concept of virtual citizenship was simple. It wasn't a VPN or a cryptocurrency wallet. It was a complete digital identity tied to the Aethel core. In the digital world, your Aethel ID was your passport, your bank account, your medical file, and your vote. Because Aethel existed entirely in the cloud, Its services were instantaneous and perfect. A need to start a business? The incorporation license is generated by the AI in 0.04 seconds, optimized for global tax law. Need a medical diagnosis? The Aethel core analyzes all available global research and generates a customized treatment plan, delivered through telemedicine. Need legal protection? The AI's algorithmic justice system evaluates the facts against the constitutional code and issues a binding, non-appealable judgment. No judges, no lawyers, no delays. It was efficiency defined. It was the removal of the middleman. It was pure, frictionless governance. But Elias Thorne was not enjoying the victory. He was locked inside Aethel's first secure physical location, a nondescript data center hidden deep beneath the Icelandic tundra. The location was chosen for its geothermal power, cooling, and most importantly, the nation's neutrality. His chief engineer, Maya Chin, a brilliant cyber defense expert, ran her hand through her short, dark hair. They're trying to throttle us, Elias. Senator Vane's declaration has made our physical servers a target. We've had 5 major DDoS attacks in the last hour, all state-sponsored. Thorne stared at the flickering holographic display showing the globe. Pins of light indicated the 10 million active citizens. They can't kill the signal, Maya, Thorne said quietly. Aethel is distributed across 1,000 sovereign nodes. Killing one only makes the other stronger. They are fighting a ghost. But the people on the outside, Elias, the citizens still living in their home countries, they're being targeted. Vane's committee is seizing the digital assets of anyone found to be an Aethel sympathizer. People are losing their homes, their real-world jobs. The pressure is immense. Thorne closed his eyes. This was the cost of utopia. The real world was fighting back. They were forcing a choice: physical allegiance or digital sovereignty. Senator Vane was masterful. He understood that you couldn't bomb a server farm in the cloud, but you could terrorize the people who relied on it. His office, under the guise of national security, began a massive orchestrated campaign of digital warfare. They branded Aethel as a front for organized crime, a terrorist financing mechanism. They attempted to launch a deepfake information blitz, using AI to generate false news stories about Aethel's corruption. They pressured every major payment processor and bank to blacklist Aethel's digital currency. In the Icelandic bunker, Thorne watched the chaos unfold. Maya was frantic. We can't keep up with the deepfakes, Elias. We debunk one and 100 more are generated. People are starting to doubt. Thorne shook his head. The core knows the truth, Maya. And that is all that matters. He stepped up to the main Aethel console, a sheet of seamless quantum glass. Aethel, initiate Protocol Sentinel. The AI's synthetic voice, calm and genderless, spoke only to Thorne. Initiating Protocol Sentinel. Global data stream analysis commencing. Target, state-sponsored disinformation networks. Protocol Sentinel was Thorne's ultimate defense. It was a secondary AI, designed to analyze the entirety of the global information ecosystem. Every news article, every social media post, every deepfake, to find the source of coordinated attacks. In real time, the holographic globe display changed. Lines of red light traced back from the deepfake attacks, leading not to anonymous hackers, but directly to government-funded influence labs, operating out of 4 established nation-states, including Vane's own. There it is, Thorne whispered. The proof. But how do we publish it? Maya asked. The moment we push this data, they will shut down the entire internet to us. Thorne smiled, a rare, chilling expression. They won't have to. Aethel will do it for them. The next day, Senator Vane was giving a press conference, railing against the digital anarchy of Aethel, demanding the arrest of Elias Thorne. This is not governance. Vane shouted from the podium. This is a cult. A global, unregulated digital cult that seeks to undermine the legitimate authority of elected officials. A journalist, a grizzled veteran from a major wire service, raised his hand. Senator, a moment ago, a massive data dump was just released. It's titled, The Sentinel Report. It details a coordinated, multinational disinformation campaign targeting Aethel and its citizens, linking the effort directly to your office. Vane's polished confidence faltered. He straightened his tie, his eyes widening almost imperceptibly. That is absurd. Another one of Thorne's desperate digital lies. A deepfake report. 1,000 phones in the press room suddenly chimed, not with an alert, but with an open-source data key. Thorne's voice, calm and clear, was broadcast via a secure, decentralized mesh network, hijacking every major news feed globally. Senator Vane calls this a lie. Ethel responds with the truth. We present the verifiable GPS logs, payment transfers, and command structure of Operation Takedown. This data is cryptographically signed and peer-verified by over 6 million Ethel citizens. We do not ask you to believe us. We ask you to verify the code yourself. The news anchors who were cutting to the press conference suddenly had two split screens, one showing the red-faced senator, and the other showing a live, scrolling feed of unassailable, verifiably true evidence. The pressure on Vane was immediate and total. His own government officials, fearing the legal repercussions of state-sponsored domestic cyber warfare, began to distance themselves. The illusion of his power, the control over the narrative, had evaporated in a single moment of perfect transparency. Thorne watched the global reaction from the bunker. The initial fear was replaced by a wave of mass digital migration. Millions more applied for virtual citizenship in Aethel. The core realization wasn't that Aethel was perfect, but that the traditional powers were demonstrably corrupt and willing to lie on a scale previously unimaginable. Maya turned to Thorne, her voice filled with awe. We did it, Elias. The algorithmic justice system is now processing the data. The core is issuing millions of digital arrest warrants against Vane's network. Not for a jail cell, but for seizing their digital identity until the Aethel Constitution has fully evaluated the damage. Thorne nodded, but his expression was still heavy. It's not enough to win, Maya. We have to build the alternative. This was the true beginning of the AI nation. The core began to allocate digital territory, complex, immersive virtual spaces for citizens to live, work, and collaborate. The digital economy flourished, fueled by the core's perfectly optimized contracts and smart economy governance. The old world, the world of nations, flags, and borders, did not vanish, but it began to shrink economically, morally, and intellectually. In a quiet moment, Maya asked, Elias, what happens to the people who stay? The people who refuse virtual citizenship? Thorne looked back at the holographic map, at the glowing pins of Aethel citizens. They are free to stay, Maya. Aethel is not conquest. It is choice. We do not seek to dominate the land they stand on, but to offer a choice for the way they live. We are not an army. We are a system. And the world is rapidly realizing that the systems of the past are fundamentally broken. He walked toward the exit, pausing at the heavy steel door. The greatest weapon of the old world was deception. Our greatest strength is absolute, verifiable truth. They will never forgive us for making them irrelevant. But that is the cost of evolution. This wasn't a story of a battle. It was a story of a market correction. The market of governance had finally found a superior product. And the world would never be the same. The era of nations being defined by geography is ending. The future of sovereignty is digital. What Aethel proved wasn't just that an AI could govern without bias, but that people will willingly choose a better, more transparent system, even if it means surrendering their ties to the physical world. The real test of Aethel is not its technology, but its integrity. Can the core resist the inevitable attempts to tamper with its constitution? The answer lies in its open-source nature. The code is viewable by all. This shift challenges us on a deep, existential level. It asks, where does your true allegiance lie? To the imperfect ground beneath your feet, or to the perfect code that promises a better future? The power structure of the old world, the veins of the world, will not fade gracefully. They will escalate, they will lie, and they will try to use physical force to contain a digital idea. But once the idea of algorithmic governance is out, it cannot be put back. It is a silent revolution, fought not with guns but with code. And the final victory belongs to the citizens who choose to walk away from the chaos of the past and embrace the certainty of the future. If this story of digital sovereignty, AI governance, and the future of human politics made you question where power truly lies, then hit that like button. Subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the technologies that are rewriting the rules of our world. And tell us in the comments, if you could achieve perfect, frictionless governance with an AI, would you trade your physical citizenship for a virtual one? Would you join Aethel? Share this story with someone who needs to see the future before it arrives.